Whether it's high art or beautiful trash, the AV Club explores the best of film, TV, music, books, and games. Inventory is our obsessively specific pop culture list.
Welcome to Inventory. Today we're talking about some unusual vampire variations. These are films that take the classic vampire myth and put a little spin on them. So guys, what are some of the basic criteria to be a vampire?
Say fangs.
Drinks human blood.
Can't go out during the daytime.
Okay, and what do you have if you take away all those things?
Shitty vampire.
Right, or the Twilight vampires. They don't have fangs, they just have super strong teeth because you won't want anything messing up that pretty smile that Robert Pattinson has. They can go in the sun, they just choose not to because when they do, it makes them glitter.
This is what I am.
So they're not threatening at all.
No, not at all. They're beautiful and enchanting.
Beautiful. This is the skin of a killer.
Like a unicorn.
Yes. Some vampires in the Twilight universe drink blood, but they're the bad vampires. Whereas the good vampires, they abstain from human blood. They only drink animal blood. They call themselves vegetarians.
It's like a human only living on tofu.
The creator, Stephenie Meyer, is Mormon, and that is obviously important to her to convey the message that sex before marriage is bad in the same way that drinking human blood is bad.
Stop it!
Someone described the relationship between Edward and Bella, and I wish it was me, as kind of if you were dating an apple Danish. And you just, you really wanted to eat it, but you couldn't.
Like my own personal brand of heroin.
This whole vampire variation trend spans genre and culture. So Keith, you're going to give us a slightly different take.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about a vampire made famous by Hong Kong films, and that's the hopping vampire. The one that really kind of popularized everything was a 1985 film called Mr. Vampire. Hopping vampires have their own sets of rules. You can stop them by putting a written spell on their forehead, which is maybe tricky to do. As long as you hold your breath, they can't sense you, but obviously at some point you're going to have to start breathing again. They can be killed with wooden swords. As for why they hop, no one really knows for sure. One theory is that it comes from the way corpses would be transported in China several centuries ago, upright, and thus kind of give them a hopping motion as they went along. It's a nice mix of kung fu and comedy, and some scares and special effects. I mean, it was definitely something for everyone in Mr. Vampire. Kyle, you want to talk about a different genre that you might not expect to find vampires in?
Yeah, at the peak of the blaxploitation boom in 1972, the world was introduced to Dracula's soul brother, Blackula.
You shall be Blackula. Blackula.
It was only a matter of time that as the genre grew, it would move away from just this strict tales of dealers and private eyes and into stranger territory and supernatural territory. Turns out Blackula started as an African prince named Mamuwalde, who traveled to Transylvania in hopes of convincing Count Dracula to endorse ending slavery.
To totally cease the slave trade?
Not only does Count Dracula scoff at that idea, but he openly lusts after Mamuwalde's hot Nubian wife. Blackula's curse is set in motion 200 years later when a couple of regressive gay stereotypes buy Count Dracula's castle and all its contents and ship it to Los Angeles.
Fantastic.
He fits the mold of Dracula in that he's a refined aristocrat. He just happens to be black. William Marshall, who played Blackula, was a pretty classically trained actor. He'd done a lot of Shakespeare. And then 14 years later, he introduced himself to a whole new generation as the king of cartoons on Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Hello, goodbye.
There aren't really a lot of differences between traditional Dracula and Blackula, except that, as the DVD cover promises, his bite was out of sight.
I promise you it will not be unpleasant.
So what have we learned?
But you know what? There is a black vampire in Twilight, so Blackula did open some doors for vampire kind.
He's like the Rosa Parks
Yeah.
of black vampires.
You know, he is a strange dude.
For more vampire variations, go to avclub.com.